Hello everyone, welcome back to Viti Pathshala. So in this class we have completed the 6th class term 2nd, the part of the social science part. Now we would be starting from this class the science part. So we have completed the history, geography, and then the civics and the economics part of the 6th class. Now we would be starting and covering this science part today and tomorrow. So I would be taking 2 classes for that. In 2 days, today and the tomorrow, we would be completing this book completely. Then on Friday and the Saturday, the homework for you is to read the book completely. So आपका होमवर्क होगा कि आपको जो इस बुक को कम्प्लीटली कवर कर लेना है फ्राइडे सैटरडे को, अपनी तरफ से इसको पढ़ के नोट्स बना के इसको जो है साइड में रख देना है. सो दैट मीन्स कि यू डू नॉट रिक्वायर दैट अगेन. सो दोबारा आपको ये बुक उठा के पढ़नी ना पड़े, इसमें से अपने नोट्स बना के इसको साइड में रख देना. And your handwritten notes would be more beneficial than reading the book again and again. So I hope we can start now. So let us start. Heat. So we would be doing the chapter that is heat. So what we would be going to learn in this chapter, we would be going to learn about the sources of the heat. We would be defining the term heat. We would be distinguishing between the hot and the cold objects. We will be defining the temperature. We will differentiate between the heat and the temperature, and we will understand the condition for the thermal equilibrium, and to understand why this thermal expansion takes place in the solids. Since we are not reading any of the book again, I requested you to keep one single test on each term for the example, one test on the term 1 book. Raja, wait, these books are not so important. I would be taking your test later on when I would be doing 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th classes. So there I would be taking. So these are not important, these are for your base building, so don't strain much. I would be giving you questions and to answer, and to write also the answers, the questions which are given at the back. So we would be focusing more on the 9th. So I am completing them in a speed manner, so that these 6th, 7th, 8th books are completed. So main journey of our would start from the 9th, and the main knowledge for UPSC is at there. जो knowledge है वो आपको वहाँ से ज़्यादा मिलेगी from the 9th to the 12th class, and that you have to read again and again. 9th and the 12th you have to make again and read again and again. But these books if you have referred once, then they are enough. These are for your building your base. For example, if you don't know the definition of the barter system, you will come to know here. If you don't know the definition of the primary, tertiary and the secondary, so that I would not be able to explain you later on. So your base would be strong here. You would not search the web for these small words. So these would be clear here from there. So that's why I have included 6th to the 12th class notebook. So I would have taken the 9th to 12th instead, but I preferred 6th to 12th so that your base would be strong. So if someone asks you, did you have done your NCERT or the Tamil Nadu SCERT, you can say that yes, I have studied and my base is strong. So after learning these books, you would be at the confidence, and you would be with the confidence you would be saying, sir, that these were beneficial and my base is strong and my concept is clear. Now to list out the practical application of the thermal expansion in day-to-day life. So let's start. Now introduction. We all are familiar with the heat. We feel it on our palm, our body when the sun shines. We use heat for cooking our food. We reduce the heat by adding ice cubes while preparing the fruit juice. Let us learn about the sources of heat. So what are the sources of the heat? So the first source they have given is the sun. So sun is the source of heat. We all know that sun gives us light. Sun हमें रोशनी देता है. Does it give us heat? After standing under the sunlight for some time, touch your head. Does it feel hot? Yes, it feels hot because the sun gives out the heat besides the light. Now you can understand why it is difficult to walk barefooted on sunny days in the afternoon, because sun not only gives you the light but also it provides the heat. And in geography we have already studied that the land gets heated quickly and it loses heat quickly, whereas if we talk about the water, it takes time to heat up and it loses the heat later. Now what is combustion? Combustion is burning. So burning something. Heat energy can be generated by burning fossil fuels like the wood, kerosene, coal, charcoal, gasoline, petrol, oil, etc. Now in your home, how do you get heat energy to cook food? Now next is friction. Now in the winters you have seen that when we feel when we feel cold, then we rub our palm and we press it on our cheeks. So rub your palms for some time and then hold them in your cheeks. How do you feel? We can generate heat by rubbing two surfaces of some substances. In the past, people used to rub two stones together to light the fire. Next is the electricity. So there are many appliances in our house that we see that works on the electricity. Electricity generates the heat, the thermal power. Now when electric current flows through a conductor, heat energy is produced. The water heater, iron box, electric kettle, the microwave, etc., all these are works on the electricity, converting into the heat energy, works on this principle. Now the next part is what is heat. Now molecules in object are constantly vibrating or moving inside the objects. So हर एक ऑब्जेक्ट में मॉलिक्यूल्स होते हैं, वो इधर उधर घूमते हैं, they are moving here and there and they are generating the heats. Now we cannot see that the movement with our naked eyes. When we heat the object, this vibration and the movement of molecule increase हो जाती है. So in the geography, I have told you the principle that as the land gets up heated, land heat होती है, so the air gets air gets expanded. दूर दूर गर्मी लगती है तो दूर दूर जाते हैं. And when the hot air rises, और जो हॉट एयर होती है वो राइज करती है, एंड व्हेन इट राइजेस इट एडिबेटिकली कूल्स एंड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, एंड इट विल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एडिबेटिकली एंड इट विल कम. जब उनको ठंड लगेगी तो पार्टिकल्स जो हैं एक दूसरे के पास आ जाते हैं, दे कम नियर टू ईच अदर. So this is the same principle, the principle of the science we are using in explaining the phenomena of the geography, how the wind moves. And the temperature of the object also increases. Now particles before the heat, particles after the heat. Now thus the heat is an energy that raises the temperature of a thing by causing the molecules in that thing to move faster. Now heat is not a matter, it doesn't occupy the space, it has no weight, उसका कोई weight नहीं होता है. Light, like the light, sound and the electricity, heat is also a form of energy. जैसे light है, sound है, electricity, they have the energy. Heat also has the energy. Now next, in short, heat is the total kinetic energy. If we have to define the heat, so what is heat? Heat is the total kinetic energy of constituent particles of objects. The SI unit of heat is joule. The unit calorie is used. Now next comes is the hot and the cold objects. In our day-to-day life, we come across a number of objects. Some of them are hot and some of them are cold. How do we decide which object is hotter than the other? So we use the tip of our finger to find out whether the tea in a cup has enough heat to drink, or whether milk has been cooled enough to set for the making curds. We often determine heat by touching the objects, but is our sense of touch reliable? So they have given activity, so we do not have to give the activity. Now next is the temperature. Definition of the temperature. What is the definition of the temperature? The measurement of the warmness or the coldness of a substance is known as its temperature. The SI unit of the temperature is Kelvin. Celsius and Fahrenheit are the other units used. Celsius is used as the centigrade as well. It determines the direction of the flow of the heat when two bodies are placed in contact. Again an activity is given. Now guess and write. Check your assumption with the help of a thermometer. Approximate temperature of the tea when you drink, so you have to take a thermometer and to do these things, so these are not necessary for us. Now normally the room temperature of water is approximately the 30 degrees Celsius. When we heat water, its temperature raises and it boils at the 100 degrees Celsius. So what do you mean? We mean here that the when we heat water, its temperature rises and water boils at the 100 degrees Celsius. पानी गर्म होता है 100 डिग्री सेल्सियस पर, and if we cool the water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. So पहली चीज 100 degrees Celsius is when the water boils and the 0 degree when it freezes. Now you have to say that the 30 degrees Celsius or 30 degree centigrade is Neela correct. Beaker and beaker B has water at 80 degrees Celsius. So you have to tell the 80 plus 80 degrees Celsius, 80 degrees Celsius, what would be the outcome? So what would be the temperature at here? Then pour the water of the A and B to an empty beaker C. Now what is the temperature of the water in the beaker C? Neela says it would be 160 degrees Celsius. Am I right? No, you are not right. It would not be the 160 degree. What is your opinion? Does Neela say correct? Make a guess and verify it experimentally. So what do you say? आप क्या कहते हो? Is it right? Is it be 160 or not? Is it 160 degree or not? It is not 160 degree. Now, do you know one day in the 1922 the air temperature was measured as the 59 degrees Celsius in the shade in the Libya, Africa. The coldest temperature in the world was measured in Antarctica continent. It was approximately 89 degrees Celsius. The minus sign is used when the temperature falls below the freezing point of water, which is 0 degree Celsius. Now if water boils ice, if water becomes ice at the 0 degree Celsius, you can imagine how cold minus 89 degrees Celsius would be. Our normal body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. Our body feels cool if the air temperature is around 15 to 20 degrees Celsius. Can you estimate the night temperature in your village or the city during the winter? Now considering this example, consider our soldiers which are staying at the Siachen. How they are working there. So Siachen has, so you can consider the temperature and the scenario at the Siachen. So our soldiers are staying in very harsh conditions, and our nation is spending so much on preservation on those soldiers. Now heat and the heat temperature are not the same thing. They in fact mean the two different things. The temperature is related to how fast the atoms or the molecules move or vibrate within the substance. Heat not only depends on the temperature of the substance but also depends on how many molecules are there in the object. Now temperature measures the average kinetic energy of the molecules. Heat measures the total kinetic energy of the molecules in a substance. The answer would be 80 degrees Celsius. So when you will, of the equal quantity, when you will merge them, then it would be 80 degree only. Now next comes is the total heat. What is total heat? Total heat is measured in calorie. The amount of heat to raise 1 gram of water by 1 degree centigrade is the total heat. Now even though the temperature of the tea is higher than that of the pond water, the volume of the water in the pond is very high. Hence the amount of molecule in the water in the pond is higher than the tea in the cup. So the pond has more heat energy than the tea cup. So this is the example they are talking about. Let us see what they are asking us. So let us think. Pavitra is having a tea while watching the pond near her house. Surely tea is in higher temperature than the water in the pond. Now a question is arising in the Pavitra's mind that which one has more heat energy, a cup of the tea or the water in the pond? What do you think? So they have given the answer. Even though the temperature of the tea is higher than that of the pond water, the volume of the water in the pond is very high. Hence the amount of molecule in the water in the pond is higher than the tea in the cup. So the pond has more heat energy than the tea. So remember, the pond has the more heat as compared to the small amount of the tea in the cup. Now flow of the heat. So we have studied about the heat, thermal energy. Now comes is the flow of the heat. Now an analogy between the temperature and water flows. Water flows when there is difference in levels of water in different places. Now it does not matter if there is more water in one place or another. Water from a puddle can flow into a reservoir or the other way around. The temperature of an object is like the water level. It determines the direction in which the heat will flow. Heat energy flows from the higher temperature to low temperature. And you also know that the wind flows from the high pressure to the low pressure. So same is the scenario ki heat will flow from the high pressure from to the high temperature to the low temperature. Why? To balance. So our अर्थ मेक्स एवरीथिंग इक्विलिब्रियम एंड हर एक चीज को बैलेंस किया जाता है. एवरीथिंग इज बैलेंस्ड. सो थर्मल कॉन्टैक्ट एंड थर्मल इक्विलिब्रियम. नाउ two objects at the different temperatures are put together. Now consider two bodies A and B. Let the temperature of A be higher than that of B. A का टेम्परेचर ज्यादा होना चाहिए B से. On bringing bodies A and B in contact, now heat will flow from the body A to the cold body B. Heat will continue to flow till the both bodies attain the same temperature. Now what happens? So you will imagine like you have a cup of cold milk, and at your home you have a cup of your hot milk, and what you will do, you wanted to drink the mild milk which is neither too hot neither too cold. So what will you do? You will mix both of them, and both of them will attain yes, through the process of convection. Yes, Raja. And they both will attain the same temperature. The temperature determines the direction of the flow of the heat. Now you are holding a hot cup of tea. You are holding a cup of tea. You are holding a cup of tea. Would the heat energy transfer from your body to the coffee to your body? So it will transfer from the second one, that is the coffee, to your body. Now you are standing outside. So this process from the coffee to your body is known as conduction. इसको हम कंडक्शन बोलते हैं. We call this process as the conduction. Now you are standing outside on a summer day. It is 40 degrees Celsius outside. Now note that the normal body temperature is 37 degree. Would the heat energy transfers from your body to the air particles, or the air particles to your body? So here the second would be the answer. Simple example, when we get up from the chair after a long time, yeah, same. Now you are standing outside on a winter day. It is 23 degrees Celsius. Would the heat energy transform from your body to the air particle, or the air particle to your body? Now two objects are said to be in thermal contact if they can exchange the heat energy. The thermal equilibrium exists when the two objects in the thermal contact no longer affect each other's temperature. Now for example, if a pot of the milk from the refrigerator is set on the kitchen table, the two objects are in thermal contact. After certain period, their temperatures are the same and they are said to be thermal equilibrium. So 80 degree, and after 10 minutes it would be the 30 degree at the room temp. This is known as the thermal equilibrium. Now expansion in the solid. So I hope you have understood how the heat is transferred. So heat is transferred through the conduction, convection, and there are other processes also which through the heat is transferred. Now expansion in the solid. Sam is trying to open a tight jar but he cannot open it. He asks his uncle to help. His uncle says that pour some hot water on the lid of the jar. Sam does so and tries to open it now. Wow, the jar is opened easily. Do you have such experience? How do you open a tightly closed cap of the pen, which could not be opened by you normally? Now, most substances expand when heated and contract when cooled. So this is the same principle we have used in the geography atmosphere chapter. I have told you that the hot substance will expand and the cool substance will contract. I have told you that जो hot होगा उसको गर्मी लगेगी. He will feel the heat and he will expand and the particles will go far from each other, and when they are cool they will come together. सर्दियों में जो हम क्लास में बैठते हैं, in the winters we sit in class very close to each other, so does we do not feel the we do not feel cold. The same way in summers we sit in class far away from our peers. The change in the length, area or volume due to the contraction expansion is directly related to the temperature change. Now, the expansion of a substance on heating is called the thermal expansion of that substance. And the process of oxidation and your rusting of the iron is also due to the temperature difference, and it also happens with the temperature and the contact of your oxygen molecules with the iron. Now they have given a beautiful picture to explain you the concept. So let us see that. Now heat and internal view. For example, this is a wooden block. In the wooden block, the particles are tightly packed, whereas in liquid the particles are sparsely packed, whereas in the gaseous form they are more sparsely packed. They are far away from each other. Substances are made up of the molecules. The molecules in an object are in the state of the vibration or movement. This cannot be seen without our naked eyes. Now this picture you can take a printout and paste for your reference. Now when substances are heated, the vibration and the movement are increases. On heating and on cooling. On heating they go away, on cooling they come together. Now the vibration is transferred in one molecule to the another, and hence the heat flows. So you can see like how the heat is flowing in an iron rod. So it is flowing like this. Now on heating you can see that. On cooling, what happens on heating and what happens in the cooling. So the process. So solid on heating turns into the liquid, and liquid on heating it turns into the gaseous form. When the gas is cooled it becomes the liquid, and the vice versa. So this process goes on. The molecules in the substance move faster when heating, spread apart and occupy more space, so substances expand when heating. Now substances also change their states from the solid to the liquid and liquid to the gas. Now water flows when there is a difference in the levels of the water in different places. Now the temperature of an object is like the water level. It determines the direction in which the heat will flow. So high temperature to the low temperature, and from low pressure to the high pressure the wind will flow. So remember like this. So this was the one thing, and next is your linear and cubical expansion. What is that? A solid has a definite shape, so when a solid is heated it expands in all directions. That is, in length, area and volume all increases on heating. So the expansion in the length is called linear expansion, and if the expansion is in the volume it would be called as the cubical expansion. अगर expansion जो है आपका it happens in the volume में होगा तो cubical होगा, अगर वो length में होगा, area wise होगा तो it would be called as linear. When is the iron rim of a bullock cart wheel heated before it is fitted on the wheel? Why is a small gap left between the two lengths of the railway line? And you will also find when we construct the concrete roads, so concrete roads, there are some gap which is left and the gap is filled with the charcoal. So why that happens? Because due to the expansion, to adjust when they expand. Now activities we don't have to do, leave them. Now next comes is your thermal expansion. What are the uses of the thermal expansion? These are important. Fitting the iron rim on the wooden wheel. Wooden wheel में iron rim को fit करने के लिए. The diameter of the iron ring is slightly less than that of the wooden wheel. Therefore, it cannot be easily slipped on from the rim on the wooden wheel. The iron ring is therefore first heated to a higher temperature so that it expands in the size, and hot ring is easily slipped over to rim of the wooden wheel. Now cold water is now poured on the iron so that it contracts in the size and hold the wooden wheel tightly. So they used to do so intelligently a few years or the many years before also. Next is riveting. Now rivets are used to join two steel plates together. Hot rivet is driven out through the hole in the plates. One end of the rivet is hammered to form a new rivet head. Now when cooled, the rivet will contract and hold the two plates tightly together. So you can see this rivet, so how these two plates are closed. Now thermal expansions examples. Give reasons for the following. Gaps are left in between the rails while laying the railway track. The same I told you, because when these will be expanded they would be occupying the gap. Now gaps are left between the concrete bridge, so I told you on the concrete road also the gap is left. Now cracking of a thick glass tumbler. Glass is a poor conductor of the heat. When hot liquids is poured into the tumbler, the inner surface of the tumbler becomes hot and expands, while the outer surface remains at the room temperature and does not expand. Due to this unequal expansion, the tumbler will break. Now electric wires. So electric wires between electric post contacts on the cold days and sag in the summers. To solve this problem, we leave wire slack. So we leave the wire slack so that they are free to change their length. So you have seen that the wires are slacked. Now glassware used in the kitchen and the laboratory are generally made up of the borosilicate glass, Pyrex glass. This is the reason is that the borosilicate glass do not expand much on the being heated and therefore they do not crack, and we use these glasses in our microwave. So in our microwave we use these glasses only. Now the photograph below shows the expansion joints at the end of the bridge in the winter and the summer. Which season is shown in the picture? Explain. How do you know? So this would be the winter season. ये A जो होगा winter है and B is your summer season. Now numerical problems, we are not concerned with the numerical problems. We don't have to do the numerical problems, are not asked in the UPSC. So you have to do at last is the points to remember. Now the main source of the heat is sun. We can obtain heat from combustion, friction and electricity. Heat is an energy that raises the temperature of a thing by causing the molecules in that thing to move faster. Heat is the total kinetic energy of a constituent particles of the object. SI unit of the heat is joule. The measurement of the warmness or the coldness of a substance is known as the temperature. The SI unit of the temperature is Kelvin. The temperature determines the direction of the flow of the heat when the two bodies are placed in contact. Two objects are said to be in a thermal contact if they can affect the each other temperature. Thermal equilibrium exists when the two objects in the thermal contact no longer affect each other's temperature. Now, most substances expand when cooled and they contract when the heated, when they expand when heated and they contract when cooled. The expansion of the substance on the heating is called thermal expansion of that substance. If you have to make notes, only make the notes of the point to remember. Now, most substance, a solid has a definite shape, so when a solid is heated, it expands in all the direction, that is length, area and the volume, all increasing on the heating. So this was the chapter heat, not so much important, only the points to remember. Remember that for the UPSC, only that will be asked. So this they have given a good flow chart that you can study. Now we would be doing the third chapter now only, so that I would not be taking the class later in the evening or the night class. So I would be taking it now and completing the 3 chapters for the today, so that you are left to revise or to do whatever you want to do for the day. So I would be giving you one more link and we would be completing the electricity itself. So we have started and we have studied for 1 hour. So this is, we have studied till 1 hour and it will take half an hour more to complete this chapter, and I wanted to complete for the today.